All right, hello, good people, and welcome to the Lola Gets channel. And today we're finishing up our love series. So you see, I have LJ with me again. Yes, yes. Thank you. Glad you are here. So earlier, like in the last two videos, we were revisiting the earlier stages of our marriage and our relationship, mostly our like dating and then marriage. And then we did a follow-up video talking about dating versus marriage. And today we're going to explore our love languages. But before we dive into all of that, I wanted to first thank you all who have joined me for another video or joined us for another video and who have subscribed to this channel. If you're new here, welcome, dear hearts. And if you enjoy what you see, please remember to follow, like, and subscribe to this channel, right? Click, please. This channel was created for us to be able to share stories and experience about life. So I'm glad you stopped by to tune in. And as always, I'm forever humbled and grateful. Okay. All right. So as I said, we are going to talk about love languages because honestly, we really didn't dive into this until probably like the 5th or 6th year of our marriage. So probably halfway through our marriage, we talked about really wanting to get to know each other on a deeper kind of a level, the depths of it, right? So what we're going to do today is kind of talk about, and I have it with me, is this book, The 5 Love Languages, okay? So this is by Gary Chapman. So you absolutely, I think we bought this on Amazon. So this is definitely a book that I would recommend for dating relationships, for if you're thinking about getting married, when you are married. I think this is very helpful in understanding your partner and how to meet their needs, like specifically their needs, right, and preferences. So before we go into like our specific love languages, I did want to start with some questions because that's kind of how the theme of our videos have been, some kind of Q&A. So yes, so what I wanted to start with was how we understand each other's preferences. And those are some of the questions I'm going to ask. But I am also going to say, like I said, halfway through our marriage, we really had a place in our marriage where we were just kind of not in sync, right? And it really had to do with us not understanding. And if you disagree, let me know. But I feel like it was more about us really just not understanding each other's needs in depth. Like we weren't really understanding our wants and our needs from each other. And we kind of were looking at it like, I need this and I need that, but we weren't really actively listening to each other and hearing each other out. So we got in a little bit of a rut for a while.
Egos definitely.
Yeah, pride, ego, all of those things, kind of selfishness was in there. So we really had to mature. And a lot of that came with, I can say now, it's like when we got closer to God, we met because our focus was on God. And somewhere along the line, we kind of got lost in like the world and what the things like the world can bring. And yeah, just all these kinds of things that life can bring. You can get wrapped up in some of that stuff if you're not careful. So I think like we're in a place, and as we've grown, I think now we're in a place where, especially like learning each other through like learning our love languages and obviously having a deeper connection with God has helped us to really focus in on our love languages, you know. So let me start with this. I will ask you a question. You tell me what your thoughts are and then I'll kind of respond. So how do you feel most loved and appreciated by me? How do you feel? Like what things that I do that make you feel most loved and appreciated?
Besides physical touch.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about our
words of affirmation. Remind who I am in God and remind me what this me personal, like for me, it's like when you know who you are in God, there was self-identity crisis. And the God gave you, it helped me, my lovely wife, remind me who I am, because society just in itself can beat you down. And sometimes you just need to part of who you are and to receive that love.
Yeah. Amen. I feel that. I think too, like just culturally speaking, it is hard to, on just Black men, period, on just the way that you're perceived, the way that life can just beat you up. And I think, I understand that just, growing up with my mom and my dad and the things that I just saw how my mom loved my dad, and how she was supportive of him and, lifted him up, didn't try to tear him down. So, and I know, I try not to do that, and it's not always easy because sometimes I can give him a rage and be upset about something and go on a tangent. But at the end of the day, the world beats us up enough. We shouldn't beat each other up. Right, exactly. So I would say, for me, how do you, answering the question, how do you feel most loved and appreciated? I definitely feel loved and appreciated when you are in tune and paying attention to me. Like when you are understanding my mood, when you know that if I'm cranky, it's not like against you. It's just like maybe I had a rough day or maybe just something happened at work. Like when you are really just paying attention to those things, that is when I really feel like love from you. Like I definitely, feel like things that I don't have to worry about doing that you do, definitely makes me feel loved and paid. Like it's like you're paying attention, right? So I love being paid attention to. So yes. All right. So then the next question is, what are some of the things I do that make you feel cherished? That's a good one. It's almost similar to the first question, but the word cherished. Yeah, like deeper. When you feel cherished. It's more than just appreciated. You feel cherished.
You surprised me by this. I never forget. I think it was like during the month I fast, you just hugged me. And I'm like, what that's for? But I really knew that because like you can try and sometimes you just feel like you're not good enough.
Mm.
The way the world perceives you, the way you're trying to overcome obstacles and getting out of your own way, because selfishness is it can't work in a marriage. You have to be selfless. And you have to take you out of it and obviously about me hurting you over my own.
I like that. Amen. I appreciate that. So I would say when I really like the things that you do that make me feel cherished, it's definitely when you are like holding my hand in public, or like you'll grab my hand, and you do that a lot. Like you always want to hold my hand, and no matter where we are. And I know sometimes I'm like, I can be like resistant just because sometimes I'm not in the mood to be all touchy-feely, huggy, kissy, touchy-feely. But I do appreciate that about you. Like I appreciate the fact that you're consistent with that even when I may be a little bit resistant to it. Yes. So that part I love, the fact that you know that about me, and it doesn't stop you from being you with me, because those are things that I love about you that you do, even when I'm being resistant to it. So I love that. And I try not to be resistant. I'm trying to be more open. Amen. Okay. And then how do you feel, or when do you feel the closest to me?
We can talk humbly, respectfully to each other. Mm-hmm. And we don't have to use our words to tear each other down over. You can have a spiteful spirit, but you also can let it linger and you turn something else.
Yeah.
So when you can release healthy, and when you know you come into a place where maturity sets in, and you start setting boundaries for yourself, like there are some boundaries that you don't want me to cross, and I don't want you to cross. But we talk to each other and we try to get to that level.
Yeah. Okay. No, I agree with that. I love that, actually. That makes sense. Like, I also think too, when I feel the closest to you is definitely when we are talking about remembering like why we fell in love, like remembering why we love each other and why we're here, right? Like sometimes we get caught up in just day to day. And the longer we're married, I think the further away we get from that initial feeling of when we met each other and all of that kind of stuff of how things felt when we first got together, right? But I think we do a good job of reminding each other, like even if it's been a while, like we do a good job of going back to like that moment and those moments, because that's, I think, what keeps our fire going, in my opinion. Yeah, it does. I think it does. Just remembering, that God put us together for a reason, that we're here together for a reason. We've been married this long for a reason, and I think that just remembering why we're together is important. So,
Amen.
All right, very good. Okay, so now we're going to talk specifically about our individual love languages, right? Because I think we kind of knew, but not really, maybe.
We never tried.
We never really talked about it, right? Yeah, we didn't really talk about it. So when we got the book, we each got one, and then we actually downloaded the app. There is it's called the Love Nudge, and so if you buy the book, it's got all the information in the book about the Love Nudge, and then you can also take the quiz, and then it just kind of keeps, I don't know if you all can see that, but it kind of keeps your, it keeps your love languages intact, so that way you can like talk over with your partner. And also, there's a thing in here, it's called your love tank. If you can, I don't know if you all can see that. Hopefully you can. But and then you just kind of say if your love tank is full, and then you can kind of interact with your spouse or your, in your relationship and say, no, my love tank is this, and then you can put comments in here. So going back to our specific love languages, we are going to talk about yours first. So I think I was showing this. So hopefully you all can see this, but I'm going to say what it is. But hopefully you can see that. Hopefully there's no glare. But so when we took this, LJ's love languages was 37%. Love language was physical touch was 37%, and mine was 7%. So I'm going to read what this says, and then we'll talk about it. You can talk about it. So it says, physical touch. This love language isn't all about the bedroom. A person whose primary love language is physical touch is, not surprisingly, very touchy. Hugs, pats on the back, holding hands, and thoughtful touches on the arm, shoulder, or face. They can all be ways to show excitement, concern, care, and love. Physical presence and accessibility are crucial, while neglect or abuse can be unforgivable and destructive. Physical touch fosters a sense of security and belonging in any relationship. So, 37% was what you, and mine was 7%. So tell me and tell us about what physical touch is for you in our marriage. Like, what does that look like? And what would you maybe like more of?
It's just the fact that when we hold hands, it's like you're united in front. Like, you don't see me without her, and you without me. We're not trying to walk ahead of each other. We're trying to walk a step. The more we get into a rhythm, our rhythm is like you walk a step. I can't walk in front of her because they can't see her. You gotta see us hold hands. We gotta be locked in and more in tune. But they also gotta know that we're serious about this. This is what I'm serious about my marriage, because of the fact that you gotta stand up for something. This is what I believe. Marriage do work, but it's work. We have to put in a lot of work to get. I would say get is to show that you made a vow to God. We made a vow to God.
So specifically talking about physical touch.
Physical touch?
Like what that means to you and how like it makes you feel and what you want more of. That's what we're...
Just want holding hands. There's a time and place I could do too much. But the time and place, just want to just lock in.
Okay. But physical touch for you?
It's just holding. It can be holding hands or hugs.
Okay. And you need more of that, or you're content, or what?
I need more. More is always better.
More is better. Okay. All right. Okay. So that's physical touch. And like I said, his was 37%, mine was 7%. So I'll just say for me, with the physical touch, I don't think, and not to get too graphic, it's like, I don't think that doesn't mean that I don't like to be intimate. Like, I think some people get all mixed up, like, because that's low, that I'm not physical with you. Like, it definitely does not mean that, right? Like, it's not anything unless you disagree.
It's rated G.
So I think like it really just means that it's an added thing for me. Like, it's just an addition to the things that I like, but it's not top of my list to be. And really, it's more just about like the hand holding and public displays of affection and all that kind of stuff. Like, I don't need all of that, right? Like, it's just different for me. That does not where I get my, like, that's not what drives me. Yeah, fulfills me with you is not that. So yeah, it's like this says, it's not always about in the bedroom. That's not what physical touch is. It's more about just that connection, that bond that you have when you're touching. Yes. Okay. So then the next one, my top one was acts of service. So I don't know if you all can see that one. This was my top one. And it's 33% acts of service for me, and then 7% for you, acts of service. So I'm going to read this one. And it says, can vacuuming the floors really be an expression of love? Absolutely. Anything you do to ease the burden of responsibilities weighing on an acts of service person will speak volumes. The words he or she most want to hear, let me do that for you. Laziness, broken commitments, and making more work for them tell speakers of this love language their feelings don't matter. Finding ways to serve speaks volumes to the recipient of these acts. And that is well said, and that is definitely me. So I will say this, and then you respond to kind of how we did the last question. But the acts of service to me is what gets me to the physical touch, right? Like it definitely is when I don't have to think about anything, when everything is like the things that you do around the house, right? Like, I don't have to think about. I don't have to think about the dishes. I know that you're going to do them. I don't have to think about the boys cleaning up the bathroom, or the bathrooms being clean, or things like that, or the car needing serviced and all this other kind of stuff. I don't have to think about that stuff because I know that you're going to handle it. And then that gets me to the physical touch. Like, it makes me want to be more affectionate and all of those things because well, when you're doing those things, right? Like, that definitely stands out. And then for you, it's like acts of service isn't like, it's not something you need from me.
No, it's not.
Like, you don't need me to do things for you like that.
It's not on my bucket list. It's on my acts of service. When you think of acts of service, it's a different dynamic of it.
Yeah.
We are called to serve. But we also got to know what our comparison contrast is.
Okay, I agree with that. So then I'm going to do this. We're not going to go through all of these, as there's 5 love languages, but we are going to do this one because we scored exactly the same on this one. So quality time, we both got exactly 27%. So equally as important. This was both our number 2. So I'll read quality time. It says, in the vernacular of quality time, nothing says I love you like full undivided attention. Being there for this type of person is critical, but really being there with the TV off, fork and knife down, and all chores and tasks on standby makes your significant other feel truly special and loved. Distractions, postponed dates, or the failure to listen can be especially hurtful. The love language of quality time also means sharing quality conversation and quality activities. So I will let you respond to that. So why do you think that was number 2 for you?
I grew up on quality time.
Like, what do you mean?
Like 80s baby, but growing up on like TGIF, that's the norm of my mama and my brothers coming together, watching it and getting our viewpoints on certain shows on how it affects us, like Boy Meets World. like the show, but the dynamic of it was like getting to growing up in a world that you have to survive in, navigate, have a plan of action, and how to avoid what your parents taught you. If you do this action, you have consequences. So to me, quality time is like, I love it because I'm getting viewpoints on my family, like kids, you, and getting in depth on understanding.
Yeah. I think too, it goes back to some of that, like the connection, right? Like when you're spending quality time, when you're focused and you're in tune with that person, you're really understanding who they are. Like, so when we spend quality time with each other, when we're like, we've made it a thing, in the latter part of our marriage so far, it's been to make sure that we have date nights, to make sure that we're locked in. And because those moments are special, and that again is both our number two. So it is also very important to you and to me that we spend time without the kids, without family, with just you and me, because that strengthens our bond. It makes us stronger together. It helps us reconnect. It gets us to the physical touch. It gets us to all of those things that make us and make our relationship stronger. So yeah, I love it. Okay, very good. Okay, so this one, I guess we could talk about this one, because this one we were kind of close. Maybe we will do all 5 because there's only 5.
Okay.
So this one is words of affirmation, and we were kind of close. 17% for me, 20% for you. And it says the words of affirmation, actions don't always speak louder than words. If this is your love language, unsolicited compliments mean the world to you. Hearing the words I love you are important. Hearing the reasons behind that love sends your spirit skyward. Insults can leave you shattered and are not easily forgotten. Kind, encouraging, and positive words are truly life-giving. So I will say this. I feel like this is actually higher for you, I think. And it's been a minute since just so y'all know, it's been a minute since we actually did this survey. It probably was, maybe
2022?
Yeah, a while ago. Even before then. Yeah, we did this a long time ago. So I think now, just again, when we have the quality time and we have these deep conversations, knowing each other and learning each other, I feel like the words of affirmation are important to you. And I know that sometimes it's more about just lifting each other up. And I know I think for you, it's like, you like to hear I love you. We just said it this morning. Like I was like, you'll be like, I love you. And I always say, I know. And then I know sometimes you just say, you're not gonna say it back. And I'll be like, I love you too. Right. So it's just hearing those things. And sometimes you need to hear them from me. So I've realized that I almost feel like this is a little bit higher for you, but that's just my opinion. But go ahead. What do you think about that?
Words of affirmation is powerful. You also want to be reassuring about, hey, you're still beautiful, you're still attractive, you still gets me all tingly inside, butterflies. It may sound lame, but your partner didn't hear that because temptation is everywhere. But you got to reassure them this is where it's at.
That's true. I like that. Because it is, you know what I mean? And that's real life. Like, you have to deal with being in this world. You have to deal with all of those things. And it's just important that we stay locked in and we stay connected, because it's a choice that we made to spend forever with each other. So I love it. All right. So then the last one is receiving gifts. And this one was, I guess, the last one for both of us, kind of. Actually, let me see. Yeah, it was. It's actually equal for me it was kind of tied for me. The words of affirmation and the receiving gifts was both 17%. This one was 10% for you. So 17% for me, 10% for you. So I'll read it. It says, receiving gifts. Don't mistake this love language for materialism. The receiver of gifts thrives on the love, thoughtfulness, and effort behind the gift. If you speak this love language, the perfect gift or gesture shows that you are known, you are cared for, and you are prized above whatever was sacrificed to bring the gift to you. A missed birthday, anniversary, or a hasty thoughtfulness gift would be disastrous. So would the absence of everyday gestures. Gifts are visual representations of love and are treasured greatly. So I'm going to respond real quick because we actually talked about this too on my birthday. And I think this right here, not so much the materialistic gifts, but it's the thoughtfulness for me with the gifts. Yes. So with gifts, it's more about the thoughtfulness and the time that it took you to think about doing something for me. And so this one may actually be a little bit higher for me now, just thinking about what we've talked about in the past. And I think that it's just also too goes back to, and also to me sometimes shows like the acts of service too. Like when you're doing those things, it's also that you're acting on your thoughts and your thoughtfulness towards me. So then it brings it all together for me, you know. So, but I know receiving gifts was 10% for you, but how does that make you feel too?
I mean, I look at receiving gifts another way. Like it's time. Time is a gift.
Mm-hmm.
Time is something that we shouldn't take for granted.
Yeah.
Because it is something that through time we figure why we together and why we continue on this path. But it's a gift.
It is.
Because we don't know when our time may be up, but we should cherish some moments because of the fact that it's all we have.
It is. Very good. Okay. Well, very good. Well, you know what? That is actually all that we had. That was just the 5 love languages. So I will just remind everybody of the 5 love languages. You can get it on Amazon. I think we literally got this on Amazon. And then when you buy the book, you get information about the app. And the app is also a fun thing you can do with your partner. Okay. So, and that is it for us today. So that quick. I know it went by so fast. So time flies when you're having fun. So, and so next week, I'm actually going to be shifting a little bit, and I'm going to be talking more about my GLP-1 journey, and basically how I got started and how it's going. So I've been on for a little bit over a year. So we'll talk into what that means for me and what that's done for me. So don't forget to follow me, like, subscribe, tell a friend, and please stay locked in and tune in for next week for more, because more is coming. Thank you so much, my love, for being here with me this week.
All the time.
All right. I love you.
Love you too.
All right. And have a good weekend, everyone. Talk to you later.